Hi, I'm Vita Guerra, and I'm living the low life.
Today on Livin' the Low Life, it's the car club that many say started it all. The Dukes began with one family in Southern California, and now, with over 4 decades under its belt, the club is 35 chapters strong.
We need to get into the history here.
And they have one heck of a motto.
Dukes don't die, we just multiply.
In the world of lowriding, their plaque is a familiar sight, and it's been that way for decades. It's the oldest existing lowrider car club, and its members know why.
The Dukes represent one-of-a-kind classic club that's been around forever, and that's what took my interest, and I wanted to be part of that.
We're blessed to be part of this logo. We're Dukes from the heart. And as we say, the Dukes don't die, they just multiply. We're Dukes for life.
The Dukes have been creating amazing rides for nearly 50 years, and today they're going to show us what makes their car club so legendary.
And to get the whole story, we're going to one of the founders, celebrated lowrider and Hall of Fame member, Fernando Ruelas.
Tell me a little bit on how you guys started. When was the car club established?
Well, the car club was established around 1962, officially. Family, all the brothers, and a few from the neighborhood here. Of course, we're in the neighborhood, 38th Street, so here's where it started.
And from 38th Street, the Dukes grew into one very large car club.
So how many chapters does the Dukes have?
We have 35 chapters. And we have chapters internationally, Japan, Australia, Sweden, and all through the United States.
Many car clubs went through turbulent changes during the Vietnam era. Some clubs folded. The Dukes restructured itself, and by the late 70s, they had a stronger set of rules and a new look to their name.
It took me a while to regroup and restructure a lot of the old membership. I had to come up with rules and regulations. And more so, I had to have them copyright the whole bit, so I didn't do that till around 77.
It wasn't always a logo that you see there today. It was a different logo.
It was a different one,
Yeah.
And when did it change to that logo?
Okay, well, it was this logo in 1962.
Okay.
And then I think in 75.
Oh, this was then.
Yeah, this
And
was
this
then,
is
this
now.
is now. There you go.
There you go.
And that's
It's
what
still
it
the
is.
same, but
It's still the same name, but just a different flavor on the look.
yeah.
Well, the depth of this story goes far beyond the evolution of a logo. It's a story of young kids who used what they had to create a positive future. Coming up, we learn there's more to a car club than just the love of a cool ride.
We need
gotta
to
educate
get,
me a little bit.
into the history here.
And it's that history we'll be looking at as we get the seriously streetwise lowdown on the Dukes.
Yeah, started from the 38th Street gang.
And later, Vita breaks it down to its essence.
Riding nice and low and slow, right?
Exactly.
The Dukes. It's that historic car club formed by the Ruelas brothers in 1962. And today, some claim that the founding family did more than simply create a club.
They say the Ruelas brothers started lowriding, so let's get the story from the source. So you guys are credited for starting lowriding, is that correct? Tell me a little bit.
I don't want to say yes on that because then I will be robbing from a lot of people that are into the same sport, and I think we need to give them credit as well. But I would like to say that we're one of the first pioneers. I don't want to give people...
I know, I feel you, and I totally understand.
Everything about the Dukes has a legend, even the way they got their name.
The name was selected from a book they were reading. They seen the Duke of Earl, and the Dukes popped up.
Okay, some parts of the story are quite simple, while other parts are steeped in a great deal of history.
We need to get into the history here.
It's not about when they started, but why.
When you become a Duke, the first thing you think of is, the history.
The birth of the club has roots in the LA gang culture of the 50s and 60s. Back then, Josefina Ruelas, a single mother of 5 boys, moved her family from Tijuana to the rough streets of South Central. Little did she know that her sons would need protection in their new neighborhood. For that, the boys affiliated themselves with the notorious 38th Street Gang, a group that dates back to the 1920s.
My uncles and my dad, started from the 38th Street Gang.
The 38th Street Gang was formed in Vernon, California. Once the Ruelas brothers were in, they knew they wanted something other than the future that was offered by the gang. The solution came by way of their cars.
You know what? We want to evolve from this and start a car club, something positive. And that's what they've done.
Back then, gangs made headlines, involved with incidents that caused friction between certain Mexican Americans and the city of LA.
Back in those days, when the gang rivalry was pretty strong around here, we just wanted to get away from that gang activity. We just didn't want to do that. We didn't find no fun doing that. We saw no future into violence. So our frustration, we took it out in cars.
The love for cars.
Sure, and fixing them up.
And they had a mentor. He was their Uncle Tinker, an automotive expert who influenced future generations.
So there's multiple generations in this car club?
Yes, there is. The structure of this car club started from my grandmother and my great uncle Tinker, which set the direction for the brothers.
But of course, their main direction came from the matriarch of this family, Josefina Ruelas.
¿Qué te parece de los hijos tuyos que están con los carros? ¿Qué te parece de...?
Muy bien, porque yo les di esta idea desde que estaban chiquitos, que se ocuparan en algo, y nunca anduvieron en la calle vagos ni nada. Y siguieron con el club, estaba hasta ahorita.
I remember many times my mother used to go out there, and she used to carry her gun, and she used to, hey, come on, let's go. And I remember the older guys, they wouldn't tell her nothing.
Back in those days, life was hard for newcomers to LA like the Ruelas family. But it was even harder to replace street life with a world of car building. Amazingly, once they did, the Ruelas family gained even more respect.
People respected us, believe it or not. We're well respected, and we can go places where no one in this world want to go. And that's how much we're respected.
We all went to school together. We played in the sandbox together.
My buddy?
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
In their neighborhood, the car world presented a break from the turf wars.
I think that we also help bridge people together. People that were kind of angry at each other. We were able to be the mediators to keep the peace. Because our area where we raced up, that was a neutral ground.
Growing up, the Ruelas brothers saw their share of turf that was anything but neutral. And when we return, we'll get the rest of that story, and a whole lot more. Coming up, Vita gets deeper into the Dukes.
Pick me up. The oh my god handles.
Yeah. But first, Fernando Ruelas tells it like it is.
So there's a lot of history right here.
There's a lot of history right here.
Founded by the Ruelas family, the Dukes Car Club is a legendary organization that's seen a lot, thanks to its many decades on the scene and on the street.
So there's a lot of history right here.
There's a lot of history right here.
In the 1940s, kids in tough neighborhoods needed an alternative.
Going into the cars was probably a lifesaver for anybody that grew up in that neighborhood, because that 38th Street was a very dominant, known headquarters for drugs.
And that's not all it was known for. The unsolved murder of a man named Jose Diaz led to the famous Sleepy Lagoon murder trial. Many members of the 38th Street Gang were